All right, welcome into Los Angeles, California, and Writer's Block. I'm Bill Reiter, and you know what? We got a great show planned for you. The Jets linebacker, Avery Williamson, is going to be on the program. We're going to talk a lot of NBA playoffs and more starting right now. All right, so since the NBA playoff schedule got set, we've all had an eye on the second round when it felt like the matchups that we anticipated would produce some remarkable drama. And the beginning of round two of the NBA playoffs did not disappoint in both cases. And we'll start with a Warriors-Rockets opening game that felt like a conference finals. It felt like last year's Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. Just the intensity and the energy. You know the Warriors got the win, and they do it in somewhat controversial fashion. Here is the foul, non-foul, not called at the end of the game, in which the Rockets had a chance to get it done. And no three, no make, no call. Chris Paul's ejected, and the drama begins. And after the game, after the Rockets went down 1-0, the opening part of what's going to be a very chippy series, the Beard sitting next to his teammate CP3, well, he was a little put out.
I just want a fair chance, man. Call the game how it's supposed to be called, and that's it. And I'll live with the results. But when you, especially we all know what happened, a few years back with Kawhi, like that can change the entire series. Just call the game how it's supposed to be called, and we'll live with the results. And it's plain and simple.
This is one of the reasons I did last week and I lost. I hate betting on James Harden teams. There's a lot of excuse making that goes on, and the notion and the idea, and I understand that it's a passionate game, that of all people on earth right now, let alone in the NBA, are going to come onto the stage and say, I didn't get the calls that at James Harden. It begs a little bit of review and a little bit of criticism. The hypocrisy to me, pretty astounding. Some stats and then we'll go to the film. James Harden almost always gets the benefit of the doubt. They had to change some of the rules in the NBA because the way he uses body contact to draw fouls. Consider this. Harden had 858 free throw attempts this year. By far the most in the NBA. The next most, Giannis, 686. 14 of his team's 29 free throw attempts last night. In fact, Harden's free throw attempts this season are the fifth most in the history of this century in the NBA, behind himself, cool, Dwight Howard, and Shaq. So it's Harden and a bunch of guys the other team wants to send to the free throw line. And here's a reminder. Here's just a few plays, soft fouls we call them. I call it a bunch of BS, where Harden, and I love his athleticism, I understand his body control, but James Harden routinely gets the benefit of the doubt. James Harden almost universally is the guy going to the free throw line when it's a questionable call. It's one of the reasons he's an MVP, the reigning MVP. It's one of the reasons Houston's as good as they are. But the fact is, and Harden should understand this, when you're playing the best team in the NBA, when you're playing a team that's higher than you are, that's achieved more, the history of the NBA is you're not going to get the calls. That was true in Jordan's day. It was true with LeBron. It's true now. Here's Rudy Gobert, I think, pointing out a pretty good point. Last week, in the Utah Rockets series, all those calls went Harden's way. And for my money, for my purposes, at the absolute nitty-gritty, I don't think it was a foul. James Harden routinely jumps into guys. I understand it's a gray area. I understand what happened to Kawhi Leonard against the Warriors a few years ago. I understand that when a shooter goes up, you can't go underneath him, but Harden's jumping into guys. And if you watch that play in slow motion, and I watched it about 31 times this morning over my morning coffee, Harden is moving forward at a critical game where Draymond Green is trying to close out and stop his opponent from hitting the kind of shot we saw Damian Lillard hit to end the season for the Oklahoma City Thunder. A little bit of contact is going to happen. Here's something that James Harden could probably, before I get to criticizing Harden, I do want to give Draymond Green, because I agree with this point, the perspective that he had after the game.
I've been fouled by James on a James three-pointer before. I ain't trying to hear that. Nah, I ain't going with that one. I'm straight. Nah.
Maybe here's what Harden should worry about instead of the officiating. That's being more efficient. I know he's an amazing player. I understand his usage rate is high. I understand that he's dynamic. But in big games, we've seen this many times, the real stat, the real problem, the real issue that jumps out for the Rockets is Harden's inefficiency. Last night, the guy was 9 for 28. That's 32% from the field. He's 4 of 16 on threes. Even my bad math skills tell me that's 25% without a calculator. This is a guy who was 3 of 8 in the fourth quarter, 0 for 4 on 3. I could show you all the games before. I won't, because we kind of hated on Harden a little bit last week. He doesn't play as efficiently as he should in these games. Play a little more efficiently, you don't have to rely on the refs giving you every single call every single time. Not the officials. It's Harden. And sometimes, Harden, you're going to have to earn your way to those victories and not expect the officials to bail you out. Moving on to the other series, Milwaukee against Boston, and it was a beatdown. Playoff Boston was there. They look great. They steal home court advantage. And after the game, Kyrie Irving talked about the fact that this team, a little bit better placed chemistry-wise.
I think that we have a good rhythm of the expectations for each other, and then going out there and executing. We obviously try to get the best out of each other, and I think that communication on the bench has improved vastly since the playoffs have started. And just everyone feels good, so I think that helps as well.
Giannis was awful, 7 of 21, didn't get his first bucket until the second quarter. And I want to give the Celtics all the credit in the world. In fact, this is the play that really symbolized the entire game, from Giannis' struggles to the Celtics bringing a whole other level of energy. Horford stuffs the Greek freak not once, but twice. But it's one game. And the reality is that the Celtics, particularly Kyrie Irving, have been on this stage before. Kyrie's won a championship, hit a shot to win it. The Celtics team made a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They understand the magnitude of these moments. They understand that the very molecules in the air feel different as you move up the ladder, presumably, hopefully, toward an NBA Finals opportunity and championship. But the fact is that the series isn't over. A, Milwaukee is still a betting favorite, not as big as they were heading in. And B, this is Giannis' first taste, and his teammates' first taste, of this level of playoff basketball. It is a process. And just a reminder for those of you that are shrugging off Milwaukee already, or more importantly, at least for me, thinking about betting against them, consider this. Almost every great team/star over the last 20 years that's won their first championship had the kind of hiccups we saw from Milwaukee. In the Cavs' first championship ever with LeBron James, they lost the first 2 games in that finals, and we know set up a 3-1 comeback. The Warriors, we forget this, when the Warriors won their first NBA championship the year before they won 73 games, before they ever had Kevin Durant, they went down 2-1 in the series in the second round against Memphis. People starting to write them off when all the talk you can't win with 3-point shooting. Obviously, that was a little misplaced, Charles Barkley. When Dallas won their championship, their first, with Dirk, their only, they lost that first game and went down 1-2 against Miami in the finals. Speaking of Dallas losing, the Miami Heat's first championship with Dwayne Wade, when Shaq was on that team back in 2006. They went down 0-2 in that finals. People were writing them off. And Shaq and Kobe's first championship together in what became a pretty remarkable dynasty, down 3-2 against Portland in the Western Conference Finals. The point is, yes, Boston played like absolute studs. Yes, Al Horford utterly and totally outdueled Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was the better player. And yes, Milwaukee would love to have that game back, but it's a 7-game series for a reason. The real question is going to be what happens to Boston when they get punched in the nose. Expect that to happen in Game 2. I don't know what the lines are yet, but I love Milwaukee already. They're going to make a series of this. I still think the Bucks get it done. It was their first taste of that kind of basketball. They weren't prepared for it. They will be next time. I love the NBA playoffs. It just gets better from here. I like the chippiness. I like the anger, right? I like teams that hate each other. Long overdue. Houston versus Warriors, pretty cool. And a rivalry in Milwaukee and Boston in the making could define the East for a very long time. Going to talk some football with our friend of the show. It'll be his second time on the program. Avery Williamson, the linebacker for the Jets. We're going to talk to him about the Jets draft, about Sam Darnold, about what he's been up to, about life in New York City. All that coming up on Writer's Block from Los Angeles, California in just a moment. All right, welcome back into the show. We got to talk some NFL. We got to do it, and we're going to do it with my buddy Avery Williamson, the Jets linebacker. Called up with him from home a few hours ago. Really, really good dude. Enjoyed the conversation. Here it is. All right, Avery, good to see you again. It's been a year. Last time you were on the show, you were about to become a New York Jet. How's the last year treated you?
Man, it's been really good. You know, wasn't the season that we expected, but I can definitely say that it was a growing experience. Being on a new team is definitely an adjustment, having to, learn your teammates, new playbook, new environment. So last year was definitely just it was a whirlwind at times. But this year, I'm definitely more settled in. We have new coaches, but to say the least, I'm kind of used to things now, and slowly picking up this playbook, and just feel a lot more comfortable, knowing my teammates now, and it's good, man. I'm really feeling like it's home.
Yeah, we're coming off, obviously, it's the Monday after the draft. All eyes on the new young guys entering the league. And the Jets, a lot of defensive acquisitions, including a guy in Quinnen Williams a lot of folks think might be the best player in the draft. What do you make of what he'll bring to the defense? What do you make of just what the Jets did in the draft in general?
Well, what I'm hoping he's going to bring is a lot of double teams. So I'm definitely I feel like he's going to be dominant. From looking at him from a college standpoint, I mean, dude, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I met him actually like a week before the draft and was kind of blown away by how big he was. So he's definitely a big guy and can move, and that's what we need up front. And, he seems like the type of guy that's going to work hard and be ready to go. So I feel like he's definitely going to demand double teams, and that's going to allow me and CJ and all the other linebackers to run free.
Yeah, you bring up CJ Mosley, obviously now part of the equation. Same position as you. You're going to shift a little bit. How's that going to affect you? What was your reaction to that addition to the team?
I mean, it was, it's news. It's definitely different having to play a different position. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's football. So just go out there and play. And, it's just go out there and make plays. This is keeping it simple. And I feel like it's a great thing because it just shows that I can play, multiple positions at linebacker. And the more time that we got on the field, the better. So, I'm glad that CJ's here, and I feel like he's going to help us to get over that hump. He's a great player, and I'm really excited to play with him.
You mentioned the new coaching staff, Adam Gase, the new head coach, more of an offensive-minded guy. And we all know who Greg Williams is, reputation. We've seen him on Hard Knocks. He's a character, very well respected defensively. What do you expect from this defense under his leadership?
I definitely know that we're going to be going full speed all the time. Like he's preaching it in meetings. We can just see his attitude, and I mean he demands greatness, and that's what we gotta give him. Every practice, walk through. It's just what he demands, and I feel like once everyone buys into that, it's going to spill over to the game field. And I mean, you can see his defense was rolling last year in Cleveland. So I'm definitely excited for what he has for us. He's been around the league for a long time, and he's known for getting defenses going, having big-time players on defense, and coaching a lot of phenomenal athletes. So definitely excited to be a part of it, and I'm looking for a lot of success on defense this year.
All right, Avery, I love guys who know where they come from and love their alma mater. So I'm going to read a tweet that you sent out. I love this. This is your tweet. Quote, 3 Kentucky boys in the first 3 rounds with one of these emojis, like one of these shocked emojis. Hashtag astronomical, man. How you feeling about your university right now?
Hey, I'm happy, man. We had 5 guys get drafted. That's huge. So definitely excited for what they've done the past. I believe Stu's been there for 5 years. Actually, no, 13, 14, 15, 16. Man, he's been there for a while. Stoops been there for a while, man, but I feel like what Stoops and his staff are doing, just with changing the culture, recruiting, I mean it's really changed the program, and it's actually it's fun to watch. I was I wasn't on that winning side when I was there, so there's a lot of dark days in Kentucky. So just glad to see those guys and finally seeing some success with multiple draft picks.
You got to style yourself the trailblazer, though, right? Like you started something. You should take credit for some of these guys.
I guess. I mean, I can't really take too much credit, man. They put the work in, but I would say I definitely gave it my all when I was in college, and gave it every game, man. Gave it 100% for the Big Blue.
One of those guys, Josh Allen. I know you're pretty tight with. Really nice fit for him where he landed. What do you expect from him at the NFL level?
I feel like they're gonna have him rolling down there. Definitely have his hand in the dirt and just going. He's a guy that can play, and I see him having some success down there. He's got he's got a knack for getting to the quarterback. So just coaching him up, I feel like they're going to get him right, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's got the size, the speed, the athletic ability to rush the passer. So definitely excited to see where he's going to be at. Thought he would be at number 6 to the Giants. Thought he might be up here with me, but definitely excited to see him, get drafted in the first round, and wishing him nothing but the best in the future.
Yeah, the Giants, the other New York team, they shocked more than a few people taking Daniel Jones out of Duke. And speaking of young quarterbacks, you go back to that 2018 draft. 3 of the 4 top quarterbacks taken in that draft now start in the AFC East, and you guys obviously have one of them in Sam Darnold. What do you expect from Sam this season?
Man, I know Sam is going to come back swinging. I feel like he finished the season strong, and he had some ups and downs last year, and just like any rookie, it's tough, and you're not going to be perfect, but I feel like with his work ethic and with the talent that we have surrounding him now, I feel like it's going to help him out a whole lot. And he's just going to be a lot better just because the experience level is there. So getting the year under his belt, makes some mistakes and just correcting them, I feel like he's going to be good. He's not going to be perfect, but as long as he's improving, I feel like it's going to help his team, phenomenally.
You've been around this game for a long time, and those of us in the media, fans, we expect excellence, and it's not reasonable immediately from the so-called big names, Avery. Kyler Murray's about to experience that. How long should a quarterback at the National Football League get before anybody, player, defensive player, coach, GM, fan, media guy, can make an accurate assessment about what they can or cannot do at that level?
Well, I feel like at least you got to give at least a year or two, man. It's tough, for some guys take longer than others. Some guys can step on the field and just, be great from year one, and others are late bloomers. Sometimes you have to switch teams to be successful. So you never can really tell a guy's true what he's going to be later in his career from off of the year. It's tough. So it's definitely a lot of pressure for first rounders, and everybody wants instant success. I remember when Mariota, when he got drafted, to the Titans, everybody was going crazy, and we only ended up winning 3 games, I believe, that year. And everybody was upset, but it's a learning process. And for guys to come out there and be great from day one, it's very tough.
Le'Veon Bell, part of the team now. It's obviously going to make Darnold's job a little bit easier. What do you expect just from him and what that can do for the offense this year?
I feel like it's going to be a huge boost. The run game is definitely should be very, very dynamic, explosive. With him, he's a great player, and he can catch the ball out the backfield, screens, and he's a phenomenal runner. So I feel like he's going to help out Sam a whole lot, man. Excited to see what he's going to do for us this year, and so glad that I don't have to go against him this year.
I hear. All right, last question for you. You spent the semester at the University of Kentucky finishing up, I think, your last class. You're building a house for your parents on some land that you and your dad own. Just how's life away from football? Sounds like you got a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a big year, man. So I think first of all, graduating from college this Friday. So I'm going back for that. And it was definitely a little.
Congrats. That's awesome.
It was a little boring in Kentucky this offseason, but I toughed it out and finally got through with it, man. There was some times I felt like I couldn't do it, but it's definitely tough going back. But I feel like it's definitely going to be a big payoff for us. So that, and then I'm building a house for my parents back home. So should start breaking ground this week, hopefully. And I'm definitely excited for that, man. They deserve nothing but the best, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. So wanted to build them a house, and so they'll be living comfortably, and they're definitely excited. And I'm excited to get back and see how it's going this June.
Hey, that's really cool. Congrats to all your success. It's great to have you back on the show. Let's do it again soon, and good luck this upcoming season to you and the Jets.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Nice dude. I mean, what a nice guy. Went back to Kentucky, got his degree. Very, very cool. Congratulations to Avery on Friday, graduating from the University of Kentucky. And congratulations to one of 4 NBA players who will very soon, after tonight's action, sit on the Iron Throne. What is that? Game of Thrones meets NBA? We got you covered. Coming back in a minute here on Reiter's Block. All right, welcome back into the show. Reiter's Block with me, Bill Reiter, on your home for streaming sports, CBS Sports HQ. Couple NBA playoff games tonight, and we're going to preview them by going inside the numbers. And we start with the number 14-0. This one's interesting. Kawhi Leonard-led teams are now 14-0 against the Sixers in his career. No love for Kawhi against the City of Brotherly Love, undefeated against Philly. Next up is the number 51. Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam combined for 74 of the Raptors' 108 points in Game 1. Get this, in the postseason, they've scored 51% of Toronto's points. If Siakam continues to play at that level, they are going to be really hard to beat by anybody, not named the Warriors. Next up, 40-10. In Game 1, Kawhi became the first player in Raptors history to drop 40 points and have 10 rebounds in a playoff game. He hasn't been there long. With all respect to DeMar DeRozan, he's already the best Raptor of all time, by a wide margin. All right, let's go to the other game. The number 10, that's Lillard's 10 3-pointers in Game 5 that made him the only player to have 50-plus points, 5 or more rebounds, 5 or more assists, and 10 or more 3-pointers in a playoff game. I'm all in on Lillard on that in a moment. Next up on Inside the Numbers, though, is the number 6. In Denver's Game 7 decisive win over San Antonio, Nikola Jokic became the 6th player in playoff history to record a triple-double without turning the ball over. He's the only non-guard to do so. His coach is right, America. Start paying attention to this dude. And finally, 8-2. The Nuggets are 8-2 in their last 10 games versus a team with a winning road record, which the Blazers went 21-10 on this season when they were away from Portland. All right, no spoilers here, but for you Game of Thrones fans, I feel you. Emotional episode. Hell of an episode yesterday. We're going to honor that and the NBA by selecting every now and then on the show someone to sit on the Iron NBA throne, and we're going to do it in Game of Thrones Westeros style with the tradition of trial by stats. We've got 4 guys for you today. Who's going to have the biggest night? Is it Damian Lillard? Do you like Jokic, Joel Embiid, or Kyrie Irving? For me, I think it's going to be Dame. I'm all in on Damian Lillard. He's the clutchest player in the NBA. I should have had that team beating the Thunder. I didn't, so I'm going to follow my instincts. Now, you've got a chance. We'll see what happens tonight, but go to my Twitter handle, @SportsReiter, Sports Reiter, and vote who you think will win the trial by stat tonight. Which NBA player, at least for the moment, will sit on the Iron NBA throne? Who will be the dominant force for their respective teams? Is it Embiid? Do you like Jokic? Do you feel like it's going to be Lillard like me? Or is Kyrie Irving going to continue to play at a high playoff level despite some of the drama in the regular season? Vote on the poll. We'll unveil it tomorrow. We'll see whether I got it right. We'll see whether you got it right. I'm telling you, it's Damian Lillard, which brings me to Bill's big bet of the day. On a bit of a roll. I'm just saying, I'm on a bit of a roll. 12-8, baby. You knew when Klay Thompson said they were going to cover. They were going to win by 30. You knew they were going to cover. I love the Trailblazers at the Nuggets tonight. Give me Portland plus the 4, man. I think the Blazers can actually win this game, and I understand Denver shook off some of those first-round nerves against San Antonio, but Portland's a markedly better team, I think, than the Spurs. Lillard's feeling it. His team is going to feed off of him, and I still think those Denver nerves are going to come into play. We saw that with Milwaukee. Milwaukee rolled through the first round. Second round feels different. It feels different, doesn't it, Giannis? And it's a different level of competition. I think Portland can win outright, but I'm not going to go money line. Should be a close game. Give me Portland plus the 4. I love it. I'm feeling 13-8. Get on that. This is a confident one. Sometimes I'm not so sure. I feel a lot better betting on Damian Lillard than I do James Harden. Thank you for hanging out here on the show. We appreciate you. Thank you to Avery Williamson, the Jets linebacker, for being on the program. Remember to vote on the Twitter poll, Sports Reiter, sports is my last name, Reiter. We will find out tomorrow who is sitting on the Iron NBA throne. Thank you for hanging out. CBS Sports HQ's got you covered on what's trending in the world of sports, starting in mere moments from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then from Stamford, Connecticut. Sportsline's got you 30 minutes from now. We'll see you tomorrow.